We have one you like on Convo Couch.
See that schedule? No, you were there. It said schedule.
Yeah, okay, so you're supposed to schedule it. Okay.
Yeah, schedule it.
So, like, for, like, right now.
Yeah.
10 minutes. Oh, so we have to wait 10 minutes?
All right, do it.
There was an update on AB84, but we can do that tomorrow.
Yeah, that will be tomorrow.
Check out the Convo Couch stream.
Oh, it's live now on Facebook, though. It looks like it. I mean, on YouTube.
Yeah, on YouTube, what does it look like?
Black screen.
It has to. It.
Has to be scheduled.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So schedule it for 5 minutes from now or something.
It says it has to be between 10 minutes and 10 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
So 10 minutes. That's what I was telling you. It has to. So schedule it 10 minutes right now.
Yeah, I did.
You did? Okay, so that
10
means.
minutes from now.
All right, while we have that. Let's
YouTube now. We got the YouTube. We got to stop the YouTube one.
I was telling you. It has to. So schedule
it
it 10 minutes right now. Is this recorded?
Is that on Facebook?
I think so. Hold on, I'm going to delete that. If.
Should I stop the stream?
No, don't stop it.
Well, go to our logo or something.
Is that?
Well, go to our logo or something.
Is that? Huh?
That's delay. It's on there. So now let's go to our picture real quick and just kind of go on in.
Can you-
OBS. Get off the black screen, and put us in.
Can you delete that though? Because I don't want that on there.
I'm sure we can delete it later. Let's just figure out what's going on. Go to. All right. 1 second. Let's check out the. Hello, everybody. Let's see. All right. Well, listen. It looks like we're live on the YouTube, fam. So we're gonna have to talk a little bit over here before we go live on the Facebook, the Facebooks.
Oh, we are live on YouTube.
Fam, we are live on YouTube.
That's awesome.
All right.
Still trying to figure out all this OBS situation. We're gonna have to work on that. It's kind of funny. So see, AB84, Ryan tagged all of us.
It's awesome.
We're gonna have to go over that. It doesn't really change much, is what I've read so far.
Why on YouTube is it not the host? Oh, it's there? Why isn't it coming over here?
I'm just confused because last time everything went at the same time. But on YouTube it just went right away, huh? Great. So, do you need to go upstairs for anything?
No, why?
Oh, I'm just wondering.
8 minutes. All right. Let's talk. So let's talk to the. Let's talk to our YouTube audience now.
About other things.
Yeah, we can talk about other things. Once I can lower this. All right. Oh, where are we at? Over here. I lost it.
Periscope on?
Yeah, leave it on. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we're gonna have to talk a little bit with stuff going on right now. Welcome to the Convo Couch. I'm Pasta Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella.
So we're gonna be going live on Facebook in just a little while. We still got about 7 minutes left, so we didn't want to start the whole show. We want to do a little before talk since we're already going live on the YouTube. So, fam, what do you want to talk about right now, real quick? Anybody out there? Anybody got a question?
We will probably repeat this once we start on Facebook, but we had Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in town. We were some of the organizers that organized several events with her here, and one of the events that we did was a breakfast with the grassroots organizers, which was really cool of her to do because she didn't have to do that. She came and had breakfast with about 50 people that are very active in the California grassroots. All kinds of organizations were represented. We made sure of that, and it was awesome, and it was a beautiful event, and it was just something that I think needed to happen, and because she's such a powerful candidate right now, she's kind of representative of the entire progressive movement. So
she's
having fun there.
Yeah. She's the chosen one.
She's
so
the face
far
of the progressive movement right now, and people are really excited about her candidacy, similar to the excitement that happened back when Bernie Sanders ran in 2016. We feel like she's a very promising candidate, and she represents the millennial youth. She's also Puerto Rican. She's also very progressive, claims to be a democratic socialist, and she is, and someone that we can all kind of feel acquainted with, so to speak.
Yeah. We're also going to touch into some of the stuff that's going on in the next couple of days. We also have some primaries tomorrow. Primary season is upon us still. It's not over yet. So we have a long way to go. But coming up in the next couple of days, we have the schedule. There's definitely Washington will come in. We have Michigan primaries. We have Missouri primaries, which Claire McCaskill, we're going to have to pay close attention to that. If you don't remember her, she's a big-time Hillary supporter who really kind of dissed Bernie Sanders in the 2016 campaign. And also we have the Ohio Special House general election, as well as we said Michigan, Kansas, and that's it. Yeah. So
No, we also have Washington.
I did. Well, I said Washington. Yeah, I said Washington.
Yeah, and Sarah Smith is a great contender. People are saying she could be the next AOC. I think, she's Sarah Smith. She's her own person, but I think what they mean by that is that she's very progressive, very leftist, and has the same type of platform where, no more war, Medicare for all, education for all, affordable housing, the things that we all desperately need right now.
Down the list, she goes down. She hits all the checkpoints, if you want to say it's a purity test, whatever the case may be, or what the progressives and populist mentality desire. But the thing that's really unique about Sarah Smith, number one, I believe her campaign manager is Jay Smith, her husband, and the campaign team. It very much mimics what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has done, the hard grassroots activism work, and she just hits the ground. She goes out there, she knocks on doors, she shakes hands, kiss babies, done the whole 9 yards, and she's positioned herself to be the next young progressive woman. Once again, let's give it up for the ladies. The ladies holding it down for the progressive movement. They've been huge.
Who run the world?
So, fellas. Oh, I'm sorry. Girls. My bad. Long.
Come on, fam.
Wrong song.
Gotta know the song.
Wrong song. Anyways, so we're getting around that time. We got about 3 minutes before we go live on the Convo Couch. All 6 people watching on YouTube, you got a question, anybody? You got a question?
We're trying to. Are we on the network right now?
We're on the MCSC network.
Great.
We're coming
Hi,
off
everyone
live.
from MCSC network. Niko House is great. Tim Black's great. Caitlin Johnston is great. A lot of these people are seen kind of as polarizing because they do great journalistic work. It's not always going to be very clear where to stand, and you can't react emotionally when you get a piece of information, like we will talk about later with Alex Jones and the issue with censoring even the voices of dissent that you may not agree with.
Mhm.
There's a line that I think, there's hate speech, but then there's also like, where do you draw the line? And then once you go down that hole and that path, we're basically having people in, like, who have so much power in Silicon Valley, these, executives, these wealthy elites like Mark Zuckerberg. We're giving them the power to tell us who to listen to and what to do. And someday that might not be Alex Jones. It can be one of us. And
well,
it has been.
Too. It has
exactly.
been. There's been a lot of progressive voices have been silenced. They've been muted, demonetized. So many things. You had Tim Black went through the whole thing when he was taken down. Our old engineer, who hopefully he comes back soon. Safe travels, Joe Sakata in Japan. He even had a situation where they shut down his YouTube without any merit and reasoning because he was talking again about Russia and what's going on over there. So it seems to be we don't want Mark Zuckerberg and Silicon Valley policing our First Amendment rights. It's just the way it is. I understand YouTube is a private business, but they have to stay within their guidelines for everybody. They can't just cherry pick the rules, and that's what they've done when it comes to Alex Jones.
And if we're going to criticize the right and the left is doing this, we also have to criticize the left. I mean, fair is fair. Press is press, and they should have the voice, even if it's something we don't agree with. There are a lot of channels and a lot of things that are actually hurtful to the movement, like CRTV. They're made, a lot of progressives have been sharing their videos and stuff, but because they specifically use that to gain momentum. So
here we are. Hold on.
We're about to
start the
live.
show. Go ahead. Did you get our, go to OBS and get our intro.
Hi, everyone.
Hey. All right. Welcome back to the Convo Couch, ladies and gentlemen. I am Pasta Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella.
And we are here.
How is everyone?
Late night talking. Let's get a little energy going. We were sleeping here. It's getting hot, so we got a lot of things to unpack today.
We do.
We're going to start and jump right into it. We had a big weekend, a big week, a huge event with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, right, fam?
Yes.
So overall, unpacking it, what'd you think about it?
Okay, so overall, it was a greatly executed event, especially with the time frame we had. We had a very, very small time frame, and we had many organizations working on it. Let me mention some. California for Progress, Jeremy White, Michelle Manos. We were also a part of it. The Convo Couch, Public Bank LA, as well as Black Lives Matter, as well as American Indian Movement. And we also had speakers from SB 562, from ACE, dealing with affordable housing. We also had the Youth for Palestinian Rights, and several other orgs that came together. Those orgs that I was just mentioning, all of those orgs were actually involved in the breakfast. We had a breakfast with her. She came out and spoke to us individually as a grassroots group. She wanted to focus on what we're doing. She was very impressed how we all came together.
Yeah.
So many organizations to talk about the issues that matter the most right now. There are so many issues, but the issues that are right now on our ballot are
Public
banking, and then
Prop 10?
the Affordable Housing Act, which is Proposition 10.
Got Joe Noddy on the line, by the way.
And John Noddy is actually working on Burlington Unidos, which is a huge story that we will try to bring to you as well with him as well here.
James Aaliyah is up late night watching what?
James Aaliyah is always up late.
We love James Aaliyah.
He goes to the gym late at night, and I used to do that all the time. It's like the best time to go to the gym because no one's there and you don't have to share machines or anything. I love it. In fact, I thought about going tonight after this broadcast.
Oh, my Lord, fam. We're going for tacos. Listen, I'm taking the fam for tacos. Listen, let's get back and digress to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The thing that was so amazing to me that I thought was great was the fact that she came to get educated herself. She had a notebook. She was listening. She wanted to talk. She wanted to be in the room with California activists and talk about and talk about the issues and learn more about the issues from people who are really tight and close to those issues. Ron Placome was not around. We were looking for him, but we didn't find him.
Yeah,
but he's here right now.
He was hiding somewhere. He said that he didn't want to intrude, and because you didn't eat salami that day. But
since I don't eat salami, he didn't go on there.
yeah.
But once again, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez seems to be everything that she's played out to be, everything that she's propped up to be, whatever you want to say. She fits the whole billing. She is the star that this country needs right now. And I think what's so great is that she focused on the issues from top to bottom, which is very, very important right now.
And let me also reiterate the fact that she specifically said, this isn't about me. This is about the movement. This is about creating a push for having other candidates like all of us in the room. She specifically said there needs to be more people running that are grassroots oriented, that are activists. And she said, this movement isn't about her. It's about having these issues discussed. It's about us coming together and understanding that this battle is not between the left and the right. It is not red versus blue, but it's about the people versus the 1%. And if we can focus on that and not lose sight of the bigger picture, then we can win, and we are winning. This is why they're scared. So it was amazing, and I'm very glad that we were a part of it. My cover photo right now is a lot of us on stage behind her as she spoke, and she is a great speaker that kind of amped up the feelings of the Bernie Sanders-esque kind of
she seized on the energy.
Fire.
She really did. She really built on the energy. She got some flack from some people in a few articles, even attacked her left about being very platitude-ish and but people don't realize that she still has a campaign she's running. She still has an election to win.
Yeah, exactly.
And right now it's about getting the enthusiasm out. There was no enthusiasm when it came to Hillary Clinton against Donald Trump, and it's essentially one of the reasons why she lost. We can talk about the other reasons, but there was zero enthusiasm, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is seizing and really using the enthusiasm of the movement. We also have to talk about the next possible Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. This has been also a favorite candidate of the Convo couches. Me and Fiorella have been talking about this girl out here, Sarah Smith, Washington. Watch out, ladies and gentlemen. Any opinions about Sarah Smith?
I like that she's relatively the same age as Ocasio, because a lot of people don't like that, like such a young candidate, but it's exactly what we need, because our Congress is full of older views, and it's not an ageism thing. It's just the fact that our needs and our issues aren't represented when these people in power have other needs and issues they want represented. So what we need is to get more of the youth in Congress, and they dismiss you. They say you don't have experience. They say you don't know what you're talking about. But the fact is, our own life shaped us in order to have this passion and these feelings for running, because these people, a lot of them, and when I spoke to Sarah Smith, when I interviewed her months ago, she said like she didn't really plan on running, and so did Alexandria. They didn't plan on running at all. It's like you don't see people out there doing what needs to be done, and you have to go out there and do it yourself.
Yeah.
Because who, if not you, then who?
If
if
not
not
us.
now, when?
If not us, who? If not now, when? And you know what? Also with Sarah Smith, too, as well. What's really great about her is that she knows a lot about a lot of the issues, and she's
very
young-minded and
intelligent.
stuff. And if she doesn't know, she'll say, I need to learn more about the situation. Sarah Smith was on Ron Placone, Get Your News On with Ron, just the other day, and she knew about every single issue except for one. And an issue she didn't know about, which was Nicaragua, I guess. And, once again, a lot of people aren't looking at Nicaragua. She says, I need to do some looking and see what's going on about that. But the fact is, she knew every single other issue. She was ready there. She was prepared. She's for open borders, which might come under attack from some people on the right.
Ocasio didn't even say that.
Yeah.
She said abolish ICE, and she's getting attacked. And I think open borders is exactly where I stand. I am for that, and that's definitely going to get a lot of flag. But what I think that also means, it doesn't mean lack of security. I think what it means is the fact that we also fix the issues in other countries by stopping our coups and stopping our meddling and stopping our proxy wars that cause these civil wars in these countries, that take away their resources, that make their governments completely unstable, and then they escape from that and they come here and they seek asylum, and then they're rejected. And that is what the core issue of this problem is. It is not just ICE, because before ICE there was still Homeland Security. There was still other departments that focused on immigration. That never stopped anyone from coming here. When you have to come here, when your family is in danger, there's nothing that will stop you. And it's something that we have to focus on, how to stop the root cause of the problems.
Yeah.
Why these people are coming.
Go back to the Convo Couch page. Go look at the last video with Rachel Brunke. We're kind of going it country by country in Central and South America. And like we said, they're missing this. Their eye is not on the ball. You know, it's one thing to say, stop the inhumane treatment of these children and the policy change that the Trump administration had, which was just disgusting. You know, they escalated this whole thing. However, the thing that really is just bothersome to me is that we're not understanding where the immigration problem is coming and then why. And you listen, ladies and gentlemen, we showed it in the last video when it comes to Nicaragua. We have $92 million given to the opposition since 2014 against Daniel Ortega, which we will kind of roll back into. But before we get there real quick, let's continue to talk a little about some of these candidates, because we do have another candidate that we like, just endorsed by Bernie Sanders in Michigan, running for governor. He could be our first Muslim governor, fam. What do you say about that?
And Abdul Al-Said is his name, and he's running against a Republican, and he's running on a platform that's not only progressive, as far as the whole platform of a peace economy, as far as the whole platform of Medicare for all, as education for all, affordable housing, assault weapons ban, et cetera, et cetera. He's also a Muslim practicing candidate. He talks about how he, prays and how that's important to him. And that's something that is extremely polarizing for many people. And people constantly told him a candidate with that name can't win.
Yeah.
And
did they say that to Barack Hussein Obama? They said the same thing too, and he took the White House. So
yeah, exactly. And especially in Michigan, though, they're like, in Michigan, a guy with that name can't win. But if you look at the rallies that he just hosted with Ocasio and Bernie Sanders earlier this week, you see that that's just not true. It's all about exciting the non-voters. And Alexandria Ocasio touched on this.
Yeah.
It's about getting these people that people dismiss as non-voters, as the youth that don't care, to vote. The moment the youth wake up and realize, holy crap, we have to do something. I mean, I'm not going to have Social Security. We're not going to have any benefits. We are really living in a shitty system. And we're going to go and continue to discuss exactly why that is and how that still continues. But the moment the youth stands up and realizes and gets excited about a candidate, the establishment is done, and they know this. Yeah. So all it takes is a candidate that the youth can believe in to spark that interest, because you got to give them a reason to vote. Many people didn't vote when it was Trump versus Hillary, but you bet if it was Bernie versus Trump, people would have voted, and they would have voted by the thousands. Yeah. And that is just a fact.
Well, I like the fact that there are a lot of young, new, like she talked about before, young, inspiring candidates coming around. This man over here. Take a look. Let's put up the brand new Congress. We have a lot of other members, too, as well, that are going to pay attention to on Tuesday. So the guys in Kansas over there, you got James Thompson. You got Cori Bush over there in Missouri. Remember, Claire McCaskill's also got a little battle going on her hand. And then Sarah Smith, too, in Washington. Fam, you want to talk about anybody else up there? But you can see everybody's can just look at it, get the vote out. This tomorrow, August 7th.
And people are still doing calls for Abdul. There was Bernie Sanders. People for Bernie Sanders were alive today, talking about a little catchphrase: "Feel the burn and be cool with Abdul." Like that was the
Richard Newell says they are pursuable voters. Okay.
Yeah. The youth. A shout out to Richard. He's one of my best friends' husband. Really smart guy. But I just wanted to.
Who's your best friend, Fram?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just broke your heart.
Okay, my bad. Anyways, brand new Congress, got some primaries tomorrow. Pay attention. I'm sure the Convo Couch will be back late night to probably discuss this. Sarah Smith, that can be a big one. You know what I'm saying? Listen, we can't just get Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in office. We got to get other people.
Army.
We got to build an
army. This isn't one person focused thing. This is an army of people coming together. Because I'm going to go and again, and our life is so comparable to Game of Thrones, fam. It really just is. No. Next time we're just going to have to play the song. Right. But we're building an army against the White Walkers, and we're going to have to get together with different people we might not agree with in order to defeat the establishment,
Yeah.
and that's literally what it is.
So let's talk about some foreign affairs because
I know you're
let's get over
dying to
here.
talk
We're
about-
dying to talk about foreign affairs because so much is into it. Like, listen, the other day we had the Progressive Caucus bring up their budget in Congress, and the main thing about it was going at the military budget. You know what I'm saying? We're talking $717 billion. And still this mindset and everything is so much geared towards the whole Russian narrative with Trump and Russia and
Yeah.
Putin, and it just gets crazy and stuff. I mean, that's what this is all about. It's for this military industrial complex to continue to get their endless supply of cash that the American people never have anything to talk about. We have plenty of things to talk about when it comes to dropping bombs or whatnot.
Yeah.
We just give the money. But when it comes to schools, no, there's no money there as well. Not to mention, we talked about our intervening with Daniel Ortega again. The debate between Congress, the debate between Democrats and Republicans isn't a debate about whether or not the world should be destroyed by war or ecocide. It's a debate about how, fam.
How?
Wow. Anything to say about that one, fam?
Well, I think Caitlin Johnson is always on the money, and I just think like we are so focused on the whole ploy that the media put of the right versus the left that we
Exactly.
don't focus on what they're actually doing. And Democrats and Republicans both voted for war, and I mean people like Pelosi. I mean, I'm not surprised, but still,
Yeah.
These are people that are saying that they're progressive. These are people that are saying they're gonna put out a better deal. They're calling it, the Democrats, a better deal. And if you saw my meme, fam, it was like the Nike, it was $79.99, and then it's the Democrats wanting it to be better, and it's like the same shoe for $79.99. It's the same bullshit that they always like pull, and it's tiresome. And it's, as long as we continue pushing for war, whether you're on the right or the left,
Yeah.
we're still gonna have all of the issues that we currently have.
Well, take a look at some of these other tweets. I want to take a shout out to Allie White while she's on there and whatnot. The one thing that was kind of depressing too, though, is that there was no anti-war movement, and it's been really hard. A friend of mine, Jeremy White, we talked about it today. It's because people become blind to it. It's not like a war anymore. It's just a conflict.
It's proxy wars.
Look
so
at
people don't
Rokan's
feel
tweet. Let's
like
put that one back up
there's
there.
wars.
See, okay, the Iraq War, another one. You know what I'm saying? Why can't we have more politicians? And I understand that this man has come under some flack for some of the money he's taken. But anytime there's a talk about war, you got Rokana out there calling people out. You know what I'm saying? And he still reminds people, hey, man, the Iraq War, it was supported by politicians on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah.
And we can't repeat that disaster again. Why, fam? Why are so many Democrats crossing the aisle and voting for war?
Because there's money in it, and all we care about are the interests that are invested by the elite. That's all they care about. Meanwhile, we have people here that can't afford to live, literally, and it's a burden. It's a crime to be poor in the system of late stage capitalism. It is absolutely a crime to be poor. And I got this thing I reposted like a few days ago last week, and it went entirely viral because it was just talking about how millennials are so like
they're done
and like we're just stuck in this era where we can't afford anything. We're burdened by debt. We're doing this and that. And I read through some of the comments, but it went like I couldn't even keep up with all the comments. But a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're so lazy. You're entitled. Every generation has it hard." Blah 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 blah. But as I'll talk about later, the financial crisis that we had.
It's been one shitstorm after another, one after the other. And we put this thing up the other day. It says, enough with these people saying, hey, millennials got to even go home after school and live with their parents. No, it's about, how about this, baby boomers? You failed to provide us an economy that we can actually have a good working job and pay for our basic bills. How about that? Because that's all it was. And that's why the youth has to come alive here. One of the great things about the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, we got some young activists in the room. What was our boy who talked about schooling, about loans, about homeless people? Gavin out there, our boy, man, coming out there and talking about that stuff. It's just great. So the youth has to continue to wake up, continue to get out to the polls, and we have to pay attention to this rhetoric of war, because that's where the money's being spent. It's being spent on the War Department. The Pentagon is getting
That's
these
why
checks.
there's never any money for us. And that's
Never
why
left.
it's so important. And it's really hard to discuss war and being anti-war in an era where even people on the left are calling for war, especially even a Cold
Russian
War
rhetoric.
type with Russia.
The Russian rhetoric is just, it's complete war rhetoric. Do we have any other tweets up there that we can put up real quick? We have one more tweet here, I believe, right? I believe Caitlin Johnson has a tweet, too, as well. We talked about her. But also a friendly reminder that the Lion Coup staging CIA has escalated covert operations in Iran after Trump took office. And when you should be intensely skeptical of everything you hear about Iran. But you know what? One of the things that really was just an eye-opener for me is when he brought in the worst Bolton of all, John Bolton. That's right. You know what I'm saying? We're looking right at Iran right now. It's another, and let me tell you something. Israel has a lot of weight to throw around when it comes to our government, and we kind of back them up in any of their decisions. So let me just say another thing really quick, pay attention to war with Iran and what we do, because it's not looking good, Bam. It's not looking good. You want to talk about the crash now? What do you want to talk about next?
Whatever our editor Jonathan has next.
John, put up the next topic over here because Fiorella wants to talk about it, I believe. Healthcare.
Well, I just wanted to quickly mention this picture of us that we took while at the event, the luncheon for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Look at that guy, how good he looks on the left.
Yeah, SB 562 is something we've been fighting for here in California, and obviously Anthony Rendon killed it, but that's why we want to replace him with Assemblymember Maria Estrada, hopefully. And it's important to support candidates that are focused on the issues because they come from the people. Maria Estrada has been knocking on doors, has been
another Ocasio story, right?
The campaign, because she believes in it, because she's lived it and is a part of this community. It's important to have candidates that are part of the community, like Ocasio is. That's why she had so much support. Once you're a part of the community, you know what is needed. So I wanted to mention that as well.
Okay, let's talk about the New York article right over there. Let's get that one up too as well. Which one is that? The financial crisis?
So it's been 10 years since the Wall Street bailout, since we had the financial crisis where millions of people lost their homes, thousands of people lost everything, and so many people died and committed suicide because it was that bad. And I just want to point out, like, we are still living the consequences of this crash. And the fact is that people, going back to the millennial thing, love to call millennials lazy and all that. But 2008, I was just had recently come out of graduating high school and going into college, and it's, to me, it was like, okay, I'm still in college, I'm not really like out there working full time, but I could see that people were losing everything, and I was getting told, shit's gonna be really bad for you by the time you get out into the workforce, and that
were they
actually
lying, fam?
They were not lying. I mean, the jobs that many millennials go to are like shift gigs, or it's this gig economy where there is no kind of security provided. It's just, it's, you work as much as you can, or you try to find something that pays decent, and you're overqualified, or you're they underqualified in some weird form or fashion. So it's like, we are so smart. We are the smartest generation, yet we are the poorest, and we feel burdened. It's kind of like, the Fight Club generation back with your generation. It was just like that. We just feel like we're lost, and we're trying really hard, and it's again, we are living through these consequences where instead of bailing out the people, we bailed out the banks, and we regulated everything, and that was the Democrats also pushing that.
And fam, you know how I am when it comes to about a lot of these things. It's like, I understand that there's race, religion, culture, whatnot, but you know me, I feel like there's two different types of people. There's the controlling and the controlled. There's pretty much the workers and the oligarchs. And when I talk about economics being so important, that it being the main thing, it's not just about money. People think it's just about, we're talking about, oh, money means so much. No, it's resources. Okay, and once you start taking away the resources from the workers and you leave them a little, just limited amounts, small amounts, they start fighting with each other. And then the oligarchs come in with their identity politics. They pit us against each other. We're arguing left and right. Meanwhile, if we get the resources back into our hands, when we created a middle class, people, they're a lot easier with each other. When you can pay your bills, when your rent's not an issue, you're kind of kinder to everybody around you. And when different cultures and different races break bread together because they're economically secure, that's when the racism starts to dissipate and fly away. I mean, don't get me wrong. We're always going to have to acknowledge it and take it head on. But economics is the best way. Once we are comfortable within society, and that's Alexandria Ocasio talked about it, fighting for everybody to have a working job. Once we get there, the race issues just start to lessen and lessen and lessen.
Exactly. And let me also point out that America is not technically a poor country, right? We're supposed to be an industrialized, productive, wealthy nation, and we are actually a wealthy nation. However, that is also a mistakenly formed construct. What's actually the reality is that we have wealthy billionaires, right? We have some of the richest, if not the richest people here in this country. And we also have some of the poorest living in an industrialized nation. That should never happen. So our wealth disparity is so vast.
Yeah.
That we are the first poorest, richest country. And what that means is that we have such a large wealth disparity that we simultaneously have the existence of an elite class and also a class of poverty-stricken citizens, many of them now homeless or living in their cars or living with their parents because they can't have a normal, productive life and function.
Yeah.
And it's not a fault of not working hard. Some of the hardest working people I know cannot afford to live on their own. And it's insane to hear people dismiss that. This is a fact. And it's also part of the stagnant wages that, would have already gone up to $35 an hour if we had kept up with inflation. It's part of the trickle-down economics that doesn't work.
Never works.
And so later on, I'm going to discuss what actually might work.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this much, that a person in 1980 without a college degree makes more than a person in 2018 with a degree. Yeah. That says it all right there. And, James Aaliyah just put up, check this out. After bailing out the banks, Wells Fargo announced today that they accidentally foreclosed on 500 people.
Yeah.
In other words, they ruined 500 families' lives and simply said, "We are deeply sorry." I mean, it's just another set of rules for the rich.
They constantly
and another set of rules for the poor.
Which is why it's so great that public banking got them out of Los Angeles.
Divest. And public banking is on the ballot. So
we need to divest from these industries.
Let's go to the next topic up for grabs. What do we got over here? Boom. Take a look at it. We're going to talk about our man, Alex Jones. And our boy, one of our producers, one of our guys, Niko D. House, put out, if you want to think that Alex Jones being censored is okay, you need to wake up. The selectiveness of them claiming to censor because of hate speech and fake news while ignoring it coming from the Fox News, MSNBCs, the NYTs, and the Washington Post of the world shows that they don't care about hate speech. They care about anti-establishment independent media, period. Jones may be the only media that was overtly censored, but we've all faced increased censorship over the last couple of years, and it's only gotten worse. Fam, how true is this statement right here?
So, Fam, this is a very difficult topic because a lot of people are actually... and a lot of progressives are actually happy this is happening with Alex Jones. And I get it. The emotions, like, I don't like him. I can't stand the man. I argue with my uncle all the time because he loves the man. And I get into arguments.
Completely batshit crazy, by the way.
He's crazy. He talks about vampires and lizards and craziness that I can't get behind. And I would rather not listen to him or hear him or CRTV. If anyone else shares CRTV on my Facebook, I will strangle them. But no, not really. I'll just unfollow them. But it's crazy. I don't want to see this, right? Now, where do we draw the line between hate speech, slander, and all of that? Yeah. Because he does constantly lie, use hate speech, and does slander. But then in that same way, so does Donald Trump. And we don't see him being censored.
In the same way as MSNBC and CNN as far as their promoting of war. They might be more, censored
They
about
might
it,
be
a bit
more
suave about it.
pragmatic, yeah.
They might be more Barack Obama about it,
polite.
but their policies and their goals and their mentality is still that of violence. It's just terrible, you know.
So I guess my point is, if we start censoring speech, whether it's speech we disagree with, we're going to go down this hole and end up censoring independent media. And that's what I feel like he's getting at, is that the establishment is using this as an excuse to censor and dictate who we listen to, the information we get, and that is wrong. I may not agree with Alex Jones. I can't stand him, but that doesn't mean that it's necessarily okay to censor him. Now, I'm not necessarily upset, but I think it is a dangerous construct, because the moment you start going down that hole, I mean, anybody could be censored. And Facebook has already been found to censor all kinds of people, and I've been censored on Facebook. Many other independent media have been censored on Facebook
Been muted,
and YouTube.
Demonetized, not been able to share our videos.
100%.
It's been the same thing.
So
it's because it's that anti-establishment rhetoric is what they're concerned about. And then, you know, people say, oh, you know, Alex Jones has been taken off. That's a good thing. But then what about all the other people that come along with it? That's going to be really just, you know, it's all
we don't
about,
know where this is going to go. And the people deciding this are Silicon Valley executives who aren't really privy to what we need and our cause and our issues. So it's kind of a dangerous lane to go into, a dangerous road. Yeah,
YouTube owned by Google. Google's CEO is a big Obama and Hillary Clinton supporter. It's just kind of it smells a little funny right now.
It's
like,
not a
connect
good
the
thing.
dots, follow the money. You see where it's coming
Always
from.
follow the money.
And you can see, well, this is a guy who's like, you know, once again, the CEO of Google is a big establishment, Democratic.
And along with that, the fact that they are trying to mark anything that is anti-establishment, like that is pro-Trump, or anything that is like anti-being against Russia, right? Like if I'm somehow found to defend Russia in any way, or bring up Russia and say, hey, I don't think it's Putin meddling in our elections that caused, you know, Hillary the election, I might be marked as a Russian bot, which, you know, people say I am, but
you are, fam. Let's get on to the next subject over here. What do we got? We got tacos waiting for us. I'm starving.
Fam's hungry, and when
Fam
he's hungry,
is starving. Oh, what about Puerto Rico?
So Puerto Rico. So it's been nearly a year since Hurricane Maria destroyed that island, virtually destroyed. There are still generators running. There are still people without power. You can still see the tents and the tarps there. And there was a huge rise in suicide. There was also people dying in hospitals because they couldn't get the proper equipment, the proper electricity, the proper just the proper medical tools necessary to keep them alive. So as we all know, the death toll was ridiculously high, and
climbing.
We were told that it was like 60 people when it's in the thousands.
Well, that was the whole thing. It's like 60 people died during the storms, but the aftermath, and not us doing what we need to do.
Nothing.
I mean, just doing basically next to nothing. And you know what? There were so many opportunities when this went down. I was hoping that Puerto Rico can get rid of a lot of these vulture capitalists and get themselves on a solar energy grid. But no, the oligarchs went in. We don't let it happen. No. We control what goes on there. And let's put up Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I want you to read this. You being a Latin woman.
No, you read it, fam.
Well, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Puerto Rico, number one, is the United States, and that's something that's ignored, but it is the United States, ladies and gentlemen. Puerto Rico is a prime example of vulture fund exploitation, often called disaster capitalism.
Yes.
Outcomes are horrific, and yes, people are fleeing. And 5,000 Americans died in Puerto Rico in 10 months, okay? More than 9/11 and Katrina combined. The GOP doesn't seem to care.
And neither do the Democrats. And let me add, the fact is, okay, that what vulture capitalism and disaster capitalism is, and I've done a ton of research on this, and I actually want to dedicate an entire program to this, because Naomi Klein talks about it a lot in her, in the shock doctrine. She talks about how we did this in Iraq and Katrina. But I want to mention what's happening in Puerto Rico. So in Puerto Rico, we're not only now gutting their security for Medicaid, we're gutting all of their health care money. We're taking it away. we treat them as second-class citizens. We treat them as a colony. That is how our government sees Puerto Rico and Puerto Ricans. Yes, they get citizenship, but really they're not treated as you and I are as normal citizens in the continental U.S. And what we do is the moment there's a disaster, and specifically we've seen this in Puerto Rico, instead of improving the conditions of the poor that are living there, what we do is we profit off of it by buying real estate. We send these capitalists, these investors, they buy off this land and this money. They construct resorts, they construct houses, they construct anything that is going to make it look pretty on the outside. And then they're going to build an industry of tourism and an industry completely directed at people who are wealthy, who can purchase that, make money, make businesses, right? Because it's all about the profits. Boom, boom. And then it looks beautiful. But then deep inside the poorest people, they're still dying. They're still not able to pick up their lives, and they're sending them to Florida. Florida actually received an influx of many Puerto Ricans, especially in Orlando and in New York as well. And it's absolutely disgusting. And this is what we do anytime there's a disaster. We did it with Katrina. We did it in the Middle East, and we will continue to do it. And people don't know about this because it's called disaster capitalism, and we do it on the leeway. Meanwhile, you don't hear about it. You just continue with your lives because we're not there. And it's disgusting.
It's this form of this predatory financial institution. I mean, you want to go
even
even
to why capitalism is not working.
Capitalism unchecked is just terrible. You know what I'm saying? We talk about democratic socialism being a capitalism with a consciousness, but these forms of vulture capitalism, they're not. These these vulture capitalists come in, they buy up the land, pennies on the dollar, they suck the economy dry, they take all the tax money, and it's just geared towards tourism. You know, once again, in Puerto Rico, the parts that got electricity right away are the tourist spots. The poor people, they suffered even more. And if you want to talk about another form of vulture capitalism, they have it running rampant with Debbie Wasserman Schultz with these predatory payday loans. Same mindset, except doing it on the mainland and taking these people giving these people money that desperately needed for food, rent, and whatnot, and then just charging them a ridiculous interest rate and something they'll never get out of it. And they've actually done that same mentality to the people of Puerto Rico. And it's just, it's been terrible.
And we always have to highlight that. And we're going to go more in depth with what actually we do with each individual country and each individual region that we profit from. Yeah. So, fam, another thing that I do want to touch on is climate change. Right now in California, we're suffering through the largest wildfire in the history of California right now. I mean, there's wildfires. If you look at a map of most of California, we're burning.
Yeah,
literally, and it's
terrible.
Not a good kind of burn.
Yeah. I thought that global warming was a hoax invented by the Chinese.
That's what Alex Jones thinks. But what we know is an alternative fact. So the fact is that climate change, we've been told, is caused by natural human nature. It's caused by living. It's caused by the gas emissions we have, our cars, et cetera, et cetera. Yes and no. So humans existing doesn't just cause climate change. What causes climate change is the competition that rises and the materialism and the wealth disparity caused by our capitalism. And capitalism is a construct, a system where people have the right to work as hard as they want, to make as much money as they want. However, in that system where there's no control, no regulation, then you have people who exploit our resources. We exploit everything, and we've exploited everything to the point of exhausting all of our resources. And who's exhausted the resources? We have. The Western empires have. We leave very few resources for other countries like Venezuela, like countries in the Middle East, like Nicaragua, like Honduras. We do this all the time, and we are the ones that are using this tool to destroy our planet virtually. But it is not necessarily our fault. It is more of the system that we're in. And in order to save our planet, we need to leave the system of capitalism. It's just not working. Yeah. And so in this article by The Intercept, Naomi Klein, again, she's a highly intelligent woman, Women Crush Wednesday when it's not even it's Monday. It's not even Wednesday, but she's awesome, and she talks about how the only way to save our planet is to combine democratic socialism, because even socialism by itself, with no regard to, destroying resources, to using too many resources, is not good. Combine the democratic socialism with a form of understanding how we are all connected with the planet, how indigenous people understood the earth, and how all of our resources must be distributed equally. And through that, and through having that support, is how we will eventually defeat the environmental chaos that is surrounding us.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing about, too, when you talk about global warming, is I think a lot of people aren't realizing the cost of switching to green new energy, how much money we'll save. We have to
We'll save money.
Yeah.
People think we'll lose money.
No, you're going to save money because, first of all, we have to freaking fight these mini wars or cause these conflicts all around the globe to steal oil from these native lands and bring it back to us. And that comes with a high price tag. If we stop that right there alone, and, the sun ain't going away, fam. It's going there. The tides are going to keep going. There's currents there. I mean, we can really, really do this. We just have to have the political courage and the political will to do so.
And she talks about candidates like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Sarah Smith and other candidates that are currently running, and that is the way to go. All of this is connected, and I want to end on that point, how everything's connected. Our climate change is directly connected to the fact that we have a system that exploits our people and our resources. It exploits everything that we have right now. And in order to move on from that and to save our planet and save our people, we need to destroy the chains that capitalism has us in. And we need to get off those chains, break those chains, and find a new system. And I think the way to do it, I agree with her, is democratic socialism, because as long as we have in mind that we need to put the power and the resources back into the hands of the people in a way that also helps our environment, in order for us to maintain a life and also give a life to our future posterity, then that's how we are going to achieve this goal. Because otherwise, we're just going to burn ourselves to death.
That was well said, fam. But listen, before we end, let's end on a little electoral politics. What do you say?
Sure, fam.
We've covered everything else. We've hit everything. I want to make sure. All right, listen, I just want to close in saying this right now. I want to talk from what I've been seeing going on a lot in the news right now. Once again, with the Russian hysteria, I've seen a lot of people say, putting up these articles. Could this be the beginning of the end? I mean, a lot of these neoliberals in the establishment, you really still think that there's going to be a smoking gun and something's going to happen. It's not. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because it's such a distraction from what needed to be done. And it's not just the establishment on the left, it's also the progressives on the left too as well. Just blindly attacking Trump at every single turn or every single situation. Let me tell you something. He has an approval rating of 87% within Republicans. His public opinion polls are going up. His tariffs are targeted directly at manufacturing in China. He's going to attempt to bring manufacturing back to the Rust Belt. If you think for a second that Bernie Sanders is going to walk in 2020 and this is going to be a cakewalk, you got another thing coming. Let me tell you something, fams out there. We need to get our shit together, okay? Mm-hmm. If you don't see what Trump is doing right here, listen, you better stop trying to demonize him every step of the way. We got to continue to talk about what we're doing, okay? Because once again, within his own base, his numbers are rising. And if you know what's going on with these tariffs, like I said, these are precisely targeted. The Chinese worker now makes 75% of what American worker makes. China doesn't have its leverage to give us the cheap labor. And with these tariffs, it's now cheaper. It's going to be very cheaper soon to come in and build these facilities, these factories back in America, okay? So he's targeting the Rust Belt, okay? He's targeting workers. He knows what he's doing right here. He's got a plan. Don't think he's just this crazy batshit person out there that's just so wild that will say anything at any time. He may be, but right now, he's improving his numbers, fam. And it's going to be a war in 2020. And if we don't get our shit together, there's a long road coming. I say this all the time. Donald Trump got in office for two reasons. Number one, NAFTA, people's pockets. It hit them hard. All those people that had the NAFTA attached to Hillary Clinton would not vote for her because they lost basically everything.
And she
So
didn't
NAFTA.
campaign in the areas
She
where
didn't
they were affected.
They
so
told her not to because it would be worse for her. She had no chance.
you have
Number
to
two,
go there.
the identity politics. I understand a lot of these things when it comes to it, but we have to stop it. The identity politics is the number one tool the oligarchs have to keep us fighting with each other.
Agreed.
Okay? Recognizing the mechanisms that put us into this place, recognizing the mechanisms that were used in a racist manner is okay. But repeating those same types of sins, if you constantly tell white men in the Midwest, in the Rust Belt, that they're entitled without,
when they're poor.
when they're poor and they're moving out of their house, how are they going to react?
And they might be, but that's not the way to talk to people.
Yes.
And you have to be able to talk to people who don't agree with you. Again, that's something the left refuses to often do. They label anyone that attempts to talk to a Republican as a racist or a white supremacist or they say, no, how dare you talk to them. Not every conservative is a racist. And we have to be able to talk to these people even if we don't agree with them. And that's another thing. Like, I'm not going to necessarily go talk to a fascist and go give him a hug. Some people might, but I won't necessarily do that. But I am willing to talk to someone who may not agree with me as far as the economics go, and I do it all the time. I have many family members who don't agree with me all the time, and I still want to talk to them because they think completely different than I do, and I have to be able to answer those questions as to why I think the way I do. And that is how we get the other side to listen. We don't get them to listen by simply insulting them and telling them they're stupid, because that is how we got here in the first place. And it is, again, not enough to go and criticize Trump, because we need to pay attention to the reasons why we got him in the first place. Otherwise, we're just going to keep getting him or anyone worse than him, and then it's going to be him again. It's just a back and forth, right? We go from a conservative to a neoliberal to a conservative to a neoliberal, and I'm just sick of the cycle, and I think we all are sick of the cycle. And in order to break the cycle, we have to do something different, because we've been doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, and that just doesn't work. Yeah,
it's such the truth, fam. I think you hit it on the nose. We're just looking for solutions here and whatnot, and we're going to try to power our way through it. But like I said, once again, do not think that this is going to be a cakewalk in 2020.
It's not.
That Bernie Sanders is going to come in there.
If they even let him come in there, because all
have
Democrats
that
are
whole
doing
battle too,
is just trying to keep people like him and Ocasio away. Oh, the socialists are coming. Oh, socialism doesn't work outside the Bronx. Oh, how dare she come over here and run, and they act like she's some sort of like freaking Che Guevara. I mean, the Republicans had a picture of her dressed as Che Guevara, and when it said She Guevara, and it's ridiculous. It's like, they have her with the hammer and sickle, and it's crazy. Well, the workers need to unite, fam. That's what some people are saying on YouTube over there. The brand new Congress. Please, brand new Congress, if you can, make calls for Abdul, donate to Sarah Smith, donate to these candidates in Kansas, Washington, Michigan, and we'll see what we can do. It'd be wonderful if we could add more candidates that are like us, like Ocasio, progressive. So we'll see. Fam, see what happens. Fam, we're gonna play it on out. What's this, fam? Just a little MF Doom instrumentals. Why am I not surprised, MF Doom, fam? I want to send some love out to our boys and girls out there. Danny Garcia, Stasha K, Tim Johnson, let's break the cycle. I love you, Allie White. You're amazing to us. Allie White's an amazing organizer. Always love you, Allie White. Oh, my God. Michael Stratt, I won't even attempt to say his whole last name because he gets pissed at me. Congrats on your movie, Stratt. Congrats on your movie. Yes, and listen, they got a strike. They got some union issues going on over there as well that they got to handle within his line of work in California. Yes, the Editors Guild. Big ups to John Nadi. John Nadi's a lawyer. He's been dealing with the Burlington Unidos situation. Burlington Unidos. We're going to bring him in here, John. We want to bring you in here. We want you to tell your story because it's so important to get that information out there. Yes. And we will be talking more in depth tomorrow also about AB 84. There's been some new developments on it so far. Yes. And thank you, Ryan Asher, for the information. Ryan Asher, you're amazing. If I do decide to run against Adam Schiff in 2020, I'd like Ryan Asher to be my campaign manager if you accept. He's
also a speech and debate coach. He can help me out and stuff like that. He's got an amazing video on universal health care, on how we should frame the argument, because the Koch brothers did put out that information and that report out there, but they put it out on purpose. I think people are missing the mentality of how you should argue this, how you should debate this, so we can win people over when it comes to universal health care. And Ryan Asher does a good job. I also want to say thank you to Danny Garcia. I loved seeing you over the weekend. Who else do we got out there? Allie White, we talked about it. Jeremy White, Michelle Manos. What about Madeline out there? Revolution LA, Phoenix, what a great job. Ben Hawk, we love you. Pierce, Gavin, who am I missing out there? Anybody else there? Oh, the AIM.
CJ, and Lene, assistants for the Resistance. You. Beautiful decorations, by the way, at the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez breakfast.
Yes.
And AIM, American Indian Movement, that prayer was awesome.
Carlos Mera, Queen, Superman, we called him this weekend. What a great job, Carlos. Thank you so much. Yeah. Mel T, she does the She Does movement.
She does.
Hashtag She Does.
Hope, Shower of Hope as well.
Yes.
They were in Westwood today.
Yes.
Great.
And let's pay attention. Let's root these people on tomorrow. We got these big primaries coming up. We want to say go Sarah Smith. We love you. We're rooting for you. Also, our boy Abdul, we need you to come through.
Be cool with Abdul, guys.
Yes. Be cool with Abdul. This is the Convo Couch, ladies and gentlemen. I am Pasta Jardula.
And I am Fiorella.
Thank you so much.
Talk.